Dear learners, welcome to the second lecture of this first part on Introduction to Science Communication. So in this lecture, I will be discussing about the different channel used for science communication and the different attribute associated with them. Okay. So I hope you have shared your motivation of communicating the science in the discussion forum. If you haven't shared your motivation, please do that. We'll happy to see what is your motivation, what exactly your motivation to, what exactly your motivation, what you feel why science to be communicated with the others. Okay, so let's start this second lecture. So publishing a knowledge has a long history with knowledge sharing through ancient manuscript, but the major breakdown came when a German inventor Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press in the late 1430s, and this was the time which gave the rise to the explosion of production of knowledge in the print form. However, the earliest channel of communicating the science is considered as the journal publishing, which was started in 1665 when a European journal, Journal des Savants, was published. Shortly after this, in the same year, another journal, Philosophical Transaction of the Royal Society of the London, was published. So much of the development in the science publishing took in the 20th century. Lot many commercial publishers have emerged and started publishing various models of publications, like open access, and inside open access different open access models have emerged. Different repositories, different preprint repository have also emerged. So we will see each of these different models of open access and the kind of publishing in the upcoming lectures. So let us first see what a journal is and what are the key attribute associated with the journal. So journal is the most preferred source of communicating the science by the scientific community. It is a kind of publication that publishes number of documents. Okay, let us first see what are the attributes of a journal, and then we will see what are the different kinds of documents a journal publishes. So the first attribute of a journal is a title, which signifies the name of the journal. Then the second attribute of a journal is the publisher. Who publishes this journal? Is it a journal by society or by an organization? And the third key attribute of a journal is an ISSN number. So this is a unique number of 8 digits that identify the journal. Okay. So the fourth key attribute of the journal is the scope and the subject. So each journal publishes the research of specific field and discipline. Like some are medical sciences journals, some are social science journals, some are humanities journals. So inside, like under social science journal, like many journal publishes related to library and information science. Some journals are publishes related to psychology, sociology, anthropology. So this is how the each journal have their own scope of publishing the research. Then the fifth key attribute of a journal is the language. So each journal allow content only in a specific language. Then the sixth attribute of a journal is the document type. So each journal allows some specific type of document, like some journal publishes only article, review paper, editorial, while some journals publishes data paper also, which is another document type which got popular in recent time. I'll be discussing each of the document type in detail. So the seventh key attribute of a journal is the frequency. So it defines the publication schedule of a journal, whether the journal is monthly or annually or it's quarterly. So it depends. So each journal have their own publication schedule. And the eighth key attribute is the editorial board. So the editorial boards of a journal is a group of subject expert and professional that manages the publication of a journal. Generally, it comprises of editor-in-chief with associate editors. Then the ninth attribute of a journal is the review process. So it is one of the important attribute of a journal where research work is evaluated by subject expert to assess the quality of the publication. So again, it depends from journal to journal. Some journals use a double blind peer review, some triple blind peer review. So it varies from journal to journal what review process that journal is following. Then the 10th attribute of a journal is metrics. So journal have their own metrics, like Web of Science index journals have impact factor, while journal index in Scopus Science have site score. Then the 11th attribute of a journal is volume and issue. So journal organizes the content by publishing volume and subsequent issue of each of the volume. Again, this whole structure of volume and issue, it also varies from journal to journal. Like some journals have 4 issue in a volume, some have 2. So it depends on those how they publish the research. Then the 12th attribute of a journal is a publication mode. So this attribute describes whether the journal publishes in an online mode or a print mode or a both. If a journal publishes in both the mode, so it will have 2 ISSN number, one for the online one and another is for the print one. Okay. Then the next attribute of a journal is the reference style. So journal have their own reference style. It is also again varies from journal to journal. Some journal follow APA styles, or some journals follow MLA styles, some follow Chicago styles. Even journal of a same subject have their different reference style of publishing. Okay, so the reference style also varies from journal to journal. Then the next attribute of a journal is APC. So APC is an article processing charges. It is a fee charged by journal for publication. So again, this is also vary from journal to journal. What amount of APC they charge for publication the article in the journal. The only thing is that the what is the purpose of taking that APC. So whether that APC charge for publishing an article in an open access, or like some journal charge APC for publication itself. Okay, so for the publication also, whether it's open access or the closed access, they take the APC for the publication. So this is another attribute. Then the next attribute is the license. So license refers to as a legal permission of the content, who has the copyright on the content publishes in the journal. So whether author has the copyright on this particular research, or the journal has the copyright on this particular research. So again, this is also vary from journal to journals. So like open access journals mainly have this Creative Commons license for the article published in their journals. Then the attribute is the access mode. So access mode describes that how that journal can be accessed, whether the content of the journal can be accessed freely, or is there any some subscription amount is there for accessing the content of the journal. Then the 17th attribute of a journal is indexing, and this refers to the database where this journal is indexed, like Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed. So there are like different databases, and all the like indexing of a journal in a particular database is considered as reputation and credibility of a journal. Okay, it also enhances the visibility of the research, like some of the agencies preferred publication in Scopus index journal, some agency preferred publications in Web of Science index journal. So again, this is one of the key attribute of a journal, that where that particular journal is indexed. So the next attribute is year. So year is basically a attribute that gives the idea when the journal is started. Also it important, like some of the journals which are started, like say for example started in 2000, but they are indexed in Scopus from the year 2005. So the journal started its journey with publication from the year 2000, but indexing starts in the year 2005. This is a critical point every researcher to know that when exactly this journal has been started in indexing different databases. So like some of the journals, they were earlier indexed in some database, but now they may not be indexed in the database. So if you go to those databases and search those journal, it will display that this was the year when this particular journal was started indexing, and now whether it's continuing or it has been stopped. So the last attribute of a journal is the publishing time. This is again a very popular attribute. So this is again a very important attribute of a journal which have been popularized in recent time. Journal publishes the publishing time they take for an article from submission to the publication. So this is again another key attribute of a journal. So these are some of the 19 key attributes of a journals which are important to know what exactly journal is. So we will see all of these attribute with the examples. So this is an example of a journal titled as Government Information Quarterly. So if you see on the left hand side of my screen, this is a title of the journal, and if you see on the topmost on the left hand side, so this is the publisher logo. So this particular journal is published by Elsevier, and if you see on the topmost side of the left hand side, this side, so these are the key attributes of the journals are mentioned, like volume number. So this particular the screenshot what I have taken up is the is of volume 40 and issue 4, and it is published in October 2023, and this is the ISSN number. So these are like 8-digit ISSN number. If you notice here, here only one ISSN number is there. So we are not able to understand that whether this ISSN number is for the online publication or the print publication. We'll see where that detail is mentioned in the next slide. So, and if you see on the left hand side, there is like details of editors are also given. If you see on the right hand side, the editorial board's details are given. So this is the editorial board. So here there are two co-editor in chief for this journal, and there are like then followed by associate editors. Here this list is long, but in this screenshot it is only showing one associate editor, but there are many associate editor for this journal. And if you see, there is an interesting thing is shown for this particular journal, that gender diversity of editors in this particular journal. Generally these kind of details not all journals provide, but these particular journals have provided that for this journal the editorial board comprises of 80% men and 20% are women. Okay, so this is again it varies from journal to journal which journal want to display this information or not. Then if you see on the left hand side of the screen, this is the reference style is given. Each publication in this journal follow this reference style. So author has to follow this reference style for publication in this journal. So if you see on the right hand side, aims and scopes of this particular journals are given. So below that this is showing that type of submission that this particular journal accept. Okay, so in this slide, if you see on the left hand side, this is the copyright part of this particular journal, and if you see that for gold open access article, upon acceptance of an article, author will be asked to complete license agreement. So these are the complete details of the copyright of the content published in this journal. And if you see on the right hand side of this here, so this is again aim and scope of this journal has been listed here with a short summary, and also you can expand that. Then the ISSN number is given. So here you will see there are two ISSN number is given. So one is this for print one and this is for online one. So now we are like this journal is available in two publication mode. One is print form and another is the online form. Then if you see the next part is the subject areas. So this particular journal accept the research. So this particular journal publishes the research on sociology and political science, law, management, library and information science, business, management and accounting. Okay. And the next is the journal metrics. So this journal have two metrics, which is one is site score, which is by Scopus. So for this particular journal, the site score is 17.3, and the another is impact factor, which is by Web Science. So the impact factor of this journal as per Web Science is 7.8. So we will see in detail in the upcoming lecture what site score is, and what impact factor is, and what is the difference between them. But the key difference between both the metrics is that site score is given by Scopus, so the impact factor is given by the Web of Science. And also, like in Scopus, there are 3-year data is considered, but for the impact factor, only 2-year data is considered. We'll discuss in detail how these metrics are calculated in the upcoming weeks. Then if you see here, it is mentioned that article publishing charges. So if you read this whole para, this particular journal is asking article processing charges. So the journal is asking article publishing charges of $3,530 for publishing in as an open access. Okay, so you have to be very clear about this APC. Some call it as article publishing charges, some call it as a article processing charges. So again, it varies from journal to journal why they are asking this APC, whether they are asking for publishing or they are asking for it as a processing one. Okay, so here the journal is asking the fee for the publishing this particular research under open access. Read this detail about article publishing charge. It written that this journal offers authors the option to publish their research via subscription without article publishing charges or open access. To publish an open access, a publication fee need to be met by the author or research funder. So this is the fee is for publishing the article as a open access. Okay. So now if you see on the left hand side, these are the volumes and issues are given. So if you see, like for the volume 40, there are the 4 issues, and it depends because this journal is quarterly, there are 4 issues each in the 3 months. Okay, so the first in January, second is in the April, third is in the June, and the fourth is in the October. Okay. Then if you see on the right hand side, this is the attribute of a journal which shows that this particular journal takes the time of 346 days from submission to acceptance. Okay, so this is again important attribute of a journal which is considered before publication. Say for example, you want to publish a research, but you don't want to take that much time. Okay, so that is why publishing time is a key attribute to know how much time this journal takes from submission to publication. Then if you see, the another attribute of a journal is abstracting and indexing. Below are the details of indexing is given, where the journal is indexed. So this journal is indexed in number of databases like INSPEC, Library and Information Science Abstract, Social Science Citation Index, Scopus, etc. So this is what a journal look like. So let us now discuss about what all document types are published by the journal. These are some of the key document type generally published by a journal. So it includes article, then the review paper, then letter, conference paper, notes, editorial, erratum, short paper, data paper, so AIP and retract. We will be taking the examples of each of the document type. So first we will see the layout of an article, as structure of the other document type have similar kind of attribute with some extra or less information. So article is a document type that present the original research. So the attributes of the articles are shown in this screen. So we'll go one by one to each of the attributes. So the first attribute of the article is title, which signifies the name of the research article. Okay. Then the second is the source. So source, exactly where this article is published, whether this particular article is published in journal, which is that journal, or it is published in some other source. Okay. Then the key attribute of an article is abstract. So abstract is a concise summary that provides an overview of the research methods, result, and conclusion presented in the full article. Then the another attribute of the article is IMRAD. So basically, this is a layout generally scientific article follows. It means introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. So each article have these components. Then the each article have references which generally are in the end of the article. Then the another attribute of an article is author. So who exactly created this research, who are the creator of this research article. Okay. Then seventh attribute of an article is DOI. DOI stands for digital object identifier. It's a persistent identifier like ISSN. DOI uniquely identify the articles. So this is the ID for the articles. Then the another attribute of an article is keyword. So keywords are the specific word or phrases that represent the main topics, themes, or concepts covered in the study. So these are the keywords supplied by the authors during the submission of the article in the source. Then the another attribute of an article is volume, issue, and the page number. So it represents the location of the article in the source where that article is published, which is the volume number, what exactly the issue number, and inside that issue what are the page numbers where this article is published. Then the attribute is the year, in which year this article is published. So another attribute of an article is the citations. So what citation is, and what are like why it is important, we will be discussing in the upcoming lecture. But citations are the important criteria for evaluation of scientific productivity. So each article have citations, like how many times these articles have been cited in different research papers or different sources. Then we have some auxiliary content, like some journal require additional details in the article, like data availability statements, supplementary materials, annexures, funding, conflict of interest, like that. This you will not find in all the journals, but nowadays many of the journals are providing these auxiliary informations, like data availability statement, if data is available, where that data is available, or if that data is published somewhere as data paper or not. Then the another attributes of an article is dates. Dates are the important attribute that helps in knowing the possible time required in publishing the article in that particular source. So again, this is also vary from source to source. Some journals provide the all the dates, but some journals may not provide. So it again varies from journals to journals. Then the another point is the publication stage. So the publication stage, it describes the status of the publication stage of an article. So whether the article is in the printing or it's published. Then another key attribute of an article is license. So license is another attribute which refers to as legal permission, which define the who has the legal right on this content. This is also again vary from source to source. Like some articles have the open access article generally follows the Creative Commons license. Okay, so again this is vary from source to source. Then the another attribute is the publication mode. So the publication mode describe whether the article published in an online mode or the print mode, or so this depends on the source where that article is published. And in the last attribute of a of an article is the access mode. So how this article can be accessed, whether it is free to access or any subscription amount is required for accessing that particular article. So this is the last key attribute of an article. So let us now understand all these attributes of the articles and other document types with an examples. Okay, this is examples of an article document type published in a journal. Let us now see each attributes one by one. If you see in the header of this article, some key informations are given. So first is this scientometrics. So this display that this particular article is published in the journal Scientometrics. So this is the year. So the year is the 2010, and this is the volume number. So volume number is 84, and these are the page numbers. So pages are from 523 to 528. Now if you see below that, there is a information of DOI. So DOI of this particular article is given. After that header, if you see, so this is the title of the article. So what it is, that software survey was we were a computer program for bibliometry. So this is the title of this particular article. Then it has the authors. Okay, so these are the two authors are there for this particular article. And if you see in this green box, these are the dates which are given, that this particular article is received on 31st of July 2009 and published on 31st December 2009. Again, like some journals also provide more comprehensive dates, like received on this date, then revised on this date, then accepted on this date, and then published on this date. So many of the journals are providing the dates in the article itself. Now if you see here, this is the abstract of the study. So if you see here, this is the keywords. So the keywords, bibliometric mapping, science mapping, visualization, VOS viewer, shows that this article is related to software that can be used for bibliometric analysis and visualization. So these are the keywords. Now if you see, it start with this introduction. So I'm not showing the full article, but it has that layout. Then if you see in the bottom, there is like details of authors are given with the email IDs and the corresponding details. And if you see this logo of this Springer, that means this particular journal is published by the Springer. If you see on the right hand side, in the end of this article, there is like this acknowledgement, and then this what I discussed earlier, like data availability statement, conflict of interest. These are generally not provided in all the journals, so that is why I listed them in the auxiliary content. Then if you see below that, there is open access. So this describes the license of this particular article. So this article is distributed under the terms of Creative Commons attribution non-commercial license, so which permits any non-commercial use, distribution and reproduction in any medium, provided the original authors and source are credited. Okay, so this is how license are displayed in the article, and in the end, if you see, reference of the article is given. Now let us move to another document type, which is like a book chapter and published in a book. So there is not much difference in the article and the book chapter. The only difference is that article is published in some journal, whereas the book chapter is published in book, which generally have ISBN. So journal have ISSN number, but book have ISBN number. And the other details are almost same between the other details are other attributes of articles and book chapter are closely same. So if you see on the left hand side, it is an example of an edited book which has the title as mathematics and computer science, which has the volume 2, and it is edited by these are the 5 editors. Okay, and it is published by Wiley. And on the right hand side, all those details about this particular book is provided. What is the ISBN number, where it is printed, and what are the copyright year and all those things. Okay, now and if you see on the left hand side, These are the some of these are on the left hand side. These are some of the book chapters published in this book, and on the right hand side, this is an example of an article which is published as book chapter in this book. So this is the one example of the book chapter published in this book. Okay. So now take the example of publication source as a type of book. So the key difference between the earlier book what we have discussed here, all the chapters are written by the these three authors only. Okay. If you see the chapter of this particular book, you don't find any author details. Okay. If you see here, these are the author names are therefore associated with each of the chapter. So in an example of edited book, it is edited by a group of authors, and the chapter in the books are published by many other authors. But in the example of book, all the chapter are written by the primary author, only these three authors. Next, we have the example of a conference paper. So a conference paper is a kind of an article that is presented in some conferences, symposium, seminar. So on the left hand side, this is an example of a conference proceeding with the key details like conference name. So this is the conference name. Then the editors, dates, place. So these are the details are there. Whereas on the right hand side, if you see, it is an example of a conference paper presented in the conference E3S web of conference, and later on this is published, and a DOI is also associated with it, and the other things are same like of that article. Okay. So the next document type is a review paper. So a review paper generally represent the comprehensive overview of the original published research. So the review paper includes an extensive bibliography on a topic or a theme. This is an example of a review paper on deep learning. So it is published in this Nature journal, and this is the other details like what is the, so the year is 2015 and the DOI is there. So the key difference between the article and the review paper is the content in each of the document type. Other than that, the attributes are more or less similar in both review and article paper. Okay. So on the right hand side, if you see, this is an example of an editorial. So editorial is a kind of opinion or a news about a topic or the event. Generally it is listed at the beginning of the other documents, and it is in the short form, generally around maybe around 1 to 2 pages. Okay. This is an example of an editorial published in the Annals of Surgical Oncology, uh, which have the title Best Practices for Handling Missing Data. It discusses about how to handle the missing data. Okay. So generally these editorial are kind of short studies, ranges from 1 to 2 pages with words ranges from 500 to 1000. Again, this layout of and the number of words and the pages varies from journal to journal. Now if you see on the left hand side, this is an example of a note. So note is another document type which is published by the journal. It is a kind of a commentary or a discussion. It is also like the editorial, provide the content related to any of the event or the concepts. Okay. So if we see the examples on the left hand side, this is a note, a type of viewpoint, and which have the title Response to COVID-19 in Taiwan, Big Data Analytics, New Technology and Proactive Testing. So this is the example of note on the left hand side, and it has all the other attributes like journal name, when is that this note is published, and detail of correspondings and all. If you see on the right hand side, this is another document type which is basically a correspondence with the editor on some topic. This is also a short text document published as a single item. It also has details like author, journal, volume, year, DOI, etc. So short survey is another document type which is published by the journal. It is like a mini review of the original research articles. So generally the short surveys are in the few pages only. This is an example of short survey on computational social science, which is published in Science. Let us now discuss about this data paper, which is the latest document type adopted by researchers that facilitate the sharing and reusability of data. The publication process of data paper is similar to other documents in the journal. So a data paper consists of a complete description that include the scope, source, data collection methods, and pre-processing of the data set. So if you see, this is an example of one of the data paper published in the journal Data in Brief. So this is the journal name, Data in Brief. It is published by Elsevier. So this is the title of the data paper. Then if you see below that, the author details are given. If you see below that, there are like different dates are given. So these were the dates I was discussing, that it also vary from journal to journal. So for this particular data paper, the whole history is given, like so this particular data paper has been received on September 2023, then it was revised in November 2023, then it was accepted in November 2023, and then finally it was available online on 22nd of November 2023. So these kind of dates and the type of dates which generally describe the history of the article is vary from journal to journal. Okay. Then the keywords are given. So these are the keywords. So the keywords like soybean, quality detection, image qualification. So this is a data set related to soybean. The copyright details are given, that this particular data paper is in the open access under CC BY license, and below that if you see corresponding details and DOI and license of this article is given. So in terms of attribute, the data papers and the articles are quite similar, but inside the data paper there are some different things are available which discuss about the data set. If you see here, first it is given that the subject of a data set, that is agriculture, engineering, computer vision and pattern recognition and artificial intelligence. It has also provided that what is the specific subject area under this subject. After this, the details about the data format, that this data format as a raw it is available in JPG, then conversion JPG and PNG is available, then the annotation is in the text format, TXT format. Then types of data, so the types of data is image, and how this data is collected and all those details are provided here. Then the data source location, so data source, the source of the data. So this is the source of data, that it is in located in China, provided with all the latitude and longitude, and where this data can be accessed. So this data is available at the Mendeley repository, and both the URLs are given. One is the data identification number and another is the direct URL of that data. These are the details which you will not find in an article. So this is the key difference between the data paper and the article. Now if you see on the right hand side, so these are the auxiliary content details are there, that data availability and then acknowledgement, declaration of competing interest, and in the end references are given. If you see, the general layout of the article and data paper is quite similar, except that article have a structure of introduction, methodology, results and discussion, but data paper has specification about the data set. Let us now see another document type called as erratum, which is used by scientific community to report the error or any correction to be made in the published research. So many times a research paper is published, and after publication either the researcher or from the community have identified that something is missing. So the scientific community use this document type to inform that, so this is the correction in the published research. Okay. So erratum is a short document type that display the errors in the published research. Now for example, on the left hand side, if you see, this is an erratum of an article titled The Development and Evaluation of the Earth Gravitational Model 2008, published in the Journal of Geophysical Research, Solid Earth. Okay, if you see on the right hand side, this is the original research paper which was published in 2012, and this was the erratum published in 2013. Okay, of course we can, like, erratum will only be published after the publication of the research article. Okay, that is why the date of publication of the erratum is 1 year after the publication of the original article. So if you see this erratum, so that there is a correction in the paragraph 73, 74, 90 and 118. So it is showing that, so this is the one correction in the para 73. So there is another correction in 74, then there is another correction in 74, then in the 90, and then this 118. So this is another kind of document type that published in the journals. Now take the example of this document type known as retracted article. So retracted article is published when some irregularities are found in the original published research. Okay, so say for example some research has been published, and after the publication of that research, uh, either the community or the publisher or the author himself found some issue with the article. Okay, these irregularities are reported in the form of publication as retracted document. So the retraction note is added in the article that display the reason of retracting the paper. So in this screen, if you see, there are four kinds of retraction note. So we'll see each of the retraction example. So let first see this retraction note. So this was the document. It was published, and later it was found that the peer review process was compromised. So that is why this particular paper has been retracted. Then the second example of this retraction is due to data fabrication. So here the research paper was published, and later on it was found that data was fabricated and manipulated. That is why this particular research paper has been retracted after the publication. So this is the third example about after the publication it was found that there is a high overlap with the already published content. Okay, and if you see the fourth example, so this is an example of retraction with the questionable results, and there is a partial plagiarism is also in this article. Out of these many document type, generally article, review, conference paper, book chapter are considered as the scientific contribution to the literature, because many organization and the ranking agencies consider these kind of documents for the evaluation of the scientific productivity. So this is the end of the first part of this week. I hope through this lecture you have get the understanding of different channels like journals, conference proceeding, books, and the different document types are published in the journals. As a practice, I request that you identify each of the document type in your area of interest. Also, let us know if you found any erratum or retraction related to your research area. Please share all these details in the discussion forums. In the next lecture, I'll be taking up the second part of this week, which is on open science. Thank you.